I want to play for you a range of opinions about what happened on Tuesday night between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. We're first going to hear from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Then we will hear from Republican Senator Mitt Romney. And then we'll hear from Republican member of Congress, MAGA Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. The first one with RFK is fascinating. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. very recently suspended his campaign, endorsed Donald Trump, and said we must elect Trump and prevent Kamala Harris from becoming president of the United States. And then immediately after the presidential debate, he went on Fox News and he admitted Trump absolutely bombed the debate. He did terribly. It was horrible. Now, he tempers his criticisms of Trump a little bit by saying the format favored Kamala Harris, like the fact that they had to talk in a quiet room to each other. Something about that favored Kamala Harris and was a disfavor to Donald Trump. But when the guy that made the biggest splash he could about how he's endorsing you goes on TV and says, you didn't do a good job, you know you bombed. Listen to this.
She's been very skillfully kind of hidden, and she has not done an interview, and this was really an ideal forum for her because there are these 90-second sound bites, and you don't really go into the next level. And
the funny thing about that is Trump can't even do the 90 seconds. Like, I'm with RFK that 90 seconds per answer doesn't let you go deep. But the idea that going deeper than 90 seconds would be good for Trump is hilarious. Trump doesn't even have 90 seconds.
I think that she's very vulnerable in a like a long form interview that she'd do on a podcast or on a program like this. I think this is the ideal forum for her to display, her kind of skills. And I think she did that very well. And I think President Trump did not tell his story, which is a very, very good story about.
I love the sort of double meaning of everything. And this idea that it's the format that really favored Kamala Harris. Like, what format would favor Trump? An eating contest, a wrestling match against a woman half his size. I don't know in what format against Kamala Harris Donald Trump would come away the winner. Now, RFK also concedes, especially with independents, the polling is probably going to improve for Kamala Harris over the next week or so.
Right. But I would suspect that the polling over the next week is going to show, probably a slight drop in his support, particularly among independents, as people migrate, because
I love that, when you're losing one of your newest and most prominent campaign surrogates who says you lost and the polling will improve for your opponent, it's not good. It's not good. Neil Cavuto brings up how Trump keeps repeating that he won every debate poll. And RFK basically acknowledges these are like meaningless internet polls.
He says, and he's commented a couple of times today, that he won the debate and all the polls show that he won the debate. I haven't seen a single one to show that. What did you think of that reaction?
Well, I have seen those polls. They're not. They're polls that you see on the internet, and a lot of them probably have statistical problems with them.
I love the understated nature of calling them statistical problems. Here's a statistical problem with Newsmax. 90% of the people that watch Newsmax are potentially mentally ill. I mean, it's so there could be a slight statistical anomaly when you poll Newsmax's audience and 90% of them say that Trump won the debate. And it's that these are people who are completely in the tank for Trump and find Fox News to be too liberal. One more clip. Here's RFK saying that Trump's problem was that he got distracted, that he has a really good argument for being president, but he was baited by Kamala and therefore failed to make that argument.
But he got distracted. Yeah. And I think it's unfortunate because I think he really had an airtight argument for his presidency, but he was not able to make that case to the American public.
I just love that. I love that. Trump has an open and shut case. I mean, he's got a bulletproof case for why he should be president. Unfortunately, Kamala tricked him into shouting about cats and dogs and arguing that there are abortions after the baby is born. And it really is a shame because he's got a great argument for being president, but instead he was screaming about Haitians eating pets. When RFK, after endorsing you, says it was bad, you know it was bad. With elections right around the corner and MAGA willing to do anything to secure his win, I can't recommend enough using Ground News to stay up to date on debates and other issues that right-wing outlets will try to skew or ignore. Our longtime sponsor, Ground News, adds clarity to every news story by putting together a multitude of sources in one place, and you can compare coverage and decide for yourself. Like this story, the DNC is suing the Georgia Election Board over Republican-supported rules that allow local election boards to question and withhold election certification, potentially causing chaos after Election Day. The summary of this story on Ground News is based on every article Ground News found reporting on it, and with a simple scroll, you can see how different outlets across the political spectrum are framing the story. Voter suppression is real, and in this case, the perpetrators are elected officials who can be voted out, but only if the public understands the story from every angle, and that's where Ground News comes in. Go to ground.news/Pacman or scan my QR code for 40% off the Vantage plan that I use for unlimited access to all their features. The link is in the description.